Welcome to Heart Speaks. This is not fiction. This is heart. Stories that don't leave you indifferent. Words that carry real experience. What you're about to hear once hurt, once stayed silent, but now finally speaks. The story begins. The fluorescent light of Ridgeview High flickered coldly above the polished gym floor. 150 students formed a tight circle around a small figure in the center. Phones held high as if they were shields. "On your knees," said Jace Turner, captain of the Raiders, his voice without a smile. "And bark." Maya Lee stared at the floor. Her hands trembled. Enough for the crowd to notice, but perfectly noticeable to someone who could tell the difference between fear and preparation. The tremor came in rhythm, like a metronome. 7, 8, 9. "I said, bark," Jace repeated, stepping closer. The smell of mint gum and energy drink. A nervous laugh cracked somewhere in the crowd. Someone whispered, "Record it, record it." Maya sank to her knees. A wave of relief rolled through the circle. The crowd's comfort that the world still worked by their rules. Jace lifted his arms, collecting likes before the video even hit the stories. Her lips moved, but there was no sound. Her mouth shaped numbers. Pauses between breaths forming a map of future movement. Jace snorted. "Faster. I've got practice in 10 minutes. His right shoulder shifted, the habit before a kick. Maya lifted her gaze. There was no anger, no pleading, only the cold stillness of someone who knew how to wait out a storm. A second stretched thin. A step, a swing, and the whole gym saw Jace's foot flying toward her ribs. Maya moved. Not back, not sideways. Like water, under stone, and the kick met only empty air. So clean that Jace lost his balance, stumbling 2 steps with a sharp curse. The laughter cut off. A couple of phones lowered. The air cracked. "Get up," Jace growled, "and stop being clever." Maya stood, slowly, economically, the way no one in an ordinary high school moves. "No," she said, "I'm not barking." Silence. And then the circle, like a living thing, leaned closer. Somewhere in her jacket pocket, her phone began to vibrate. It's time. At 6 in the morning, the ocean was still gray and flat. Maya ran along the empty pier, counting heartbeats. After a quick shower, a backpack full of textbooks, a bus ride to Ridgeview High. At night, the warehouses in Chula Vista, where Vince Carver set up cages, and the crowd paid cash for a show without rules. Danny, 16, her little brother, slept on the living room couch, wrapped in a warm plaid blanket. His lashes trembled. Sometimes he smiled in his sleep, and Maya knew from the sound that it was a video game dream where he'd beaten the boss again. On the fridge hung a calendar of clinical visits at UC San Diego Health, labs, IV drips, checkups. An experimental protocol offered chances, not guarantees, just chances. The money disappeared as fast as it came. "You ran again," Danny murmured, eyes still closed. "Yeah. And you're pretending to sleep again," Maya smiled. "In school, stay invisible, okay?" I don't need a hero. I need a sister. She nodded. The promise sat on her tongue like a pill. Be invisible. A simple survival formula. That night, Vince Carver smiled like a man who was always owed something. Black suit, sharp as glass, watch flashing cold light. 2 more wins, and I put you in the final, Lee, he said, stretching the words. Ghost against the best money can buy. 1 night, and you clear your debts forever. The contract sat in the folder like a small cage. Penalties for missing a fight spelled out in hard lines. Carver's lawyer had left nothing loose. I'll think about it, Maya said. You'll think while you keep fighting, he corrected softly, because your choice is an illusion, and you're smart enough to know it. That night she won in 40 seconds. No wasted movement. The crowd roared, Ghost! Ghost! At home, when Danny slept, Maya sat at the edge of the bed and switched on the small gray recorder. The detective's voice echoed in her mind. Any contact, any threat, any payment, we collect it all. And yes, we'll talk to the clinic about coverage for Danny. But we need your courage and your discipline. She switched it off. Through the window, the lights of neighboring houses glowed, and in each, someone was waiting for something. Maya was waiting too. At school, it all broke because of something small. In the hallway, Zach Chang, the team's defender, clumsily knocked her backpack, spilling textbooks onto the floor. Maya instinctively shifted her weight, avoiding the collision, and in that split second, Jace saw something never meant for strangers' eyes. The movement of someone who didn't dodge, but redirected. You're bold, Lee, he said that evening, blocking her path near the gym. Zach and Tyler stood beside him, faces bored. Let me through, Maya said. I've got physics. Bad news, he smirked, snapping his fingers. Physics is right here. The ring of curious faces tightened. Ashley Martinez, thin as a branch, clutching a big notebook, froze against the wall. She always stood against walls. On your knees, Jace said loudly, making sure the microphones of every phone caught it. And bark. Maya sank down. It bought her time. Her phone in her pocket buzzed with a short reminder. Check-in, 7 p.m. She counted to 3 and lifted her head. The first kick missed, and the world seemed to rearrange itself. Someone snorted. Someone swore. Someone clapped a hand to their mouth. Stop dancing, Jace snapped. Stand on your knees. No, Maya said. I'm done with your rules. Guys, he called, eyes never leaving her. Zach and Tyler moved in, tightening the circle, a tested pattern. Trap, close exits, hidden turns. Works on anyone who believes in the geometry of the crowd. Maya waited for the step. 1, 2, then dropped low. So suddenly, Zach and Tyler crashed shoulders. A curse cut across the gym. Phones chirped from disrupted autofocus. How is she doing that? Someone whispered. Gymnastics? That's not gymnastics, a half voice said, and broke off. Jace came himself. His signature, a wild, straight punch from the shoulder. The brick that had dropped 3 guys last season. Maya saw the opening. The empty space where she could land an elbow, a knee, a heel. Any move, ending the fight with him on the floor. She didn't take it. She let the fist glance off her shoulder, rolled with it, dropped to her knees, on purpose. The gym exploded in cheers. The crowd got their dose, of natural order. Jace squared his shoulders. He loved these 10 seconds when the world felt simple again. "One more chance," he hissed, "just for her. Or I don't stop." "No," she repeated, and exactly then, a voice from the back said, "Wait, watch how she moves." More screens went up. On one, a shaky, dark video from some warehouse. A hooded figure in a cage, mask over the face. Caption, "Ghost, 470." Another screen showed a freeze frame from the gym. Warehouse, gym, the same footwork, the same economy of motion, the same slicing angles under another's momentum. It was as if the air thickened. "That's not her," someone breathed. "Can't be." "It can," said another voice, very calm. Dr. Eleanor Price stood at the doorway, holding a tablet. "It can, and that's not the point right now." In Maya's pocket, the phone buzzed again. Short, sharp, it tapped out one word. "Choose." "What, Lee?" Jace asked, and for the first time a crack slipped into his tone. "Tell me it's not you." "I'll tell you," she said, "but not to you." Vince Carver walked in like the gym was his personal stage. An expensive suit, an easy smile, and two quiet men behind him. The crowd shifted instinctively, making way. Even after Jace's fall, everyone recognized a predator when one arrived on time. "Maya," Vince said, as if they'd met at a reception. "Not the best time to disappear. Tonight's a big night. The final. Winner takes everything." He pulled out a folder. Short lines. Numbers. Signatures. "You can't hold her." Dr. Price stepped forward. Her hands trembled, but her voice stayed steady. "She's underage. This is illegal. I'm a legal organizer of sports events," Vince replied lazily. "Check the wording. Performance installations. Nobody's holding anyone. The girl can walk away anytime with minor financial consequences. Tiny ones. Like Tommy Gonzalez. Remember? His house?" The gym inhaled sharply. Maya saw in Ashley's eyes the fear flatten and anger rise under it. "Danny," she said softly, as if he were right there. "I'm sorry." She took the small gray recorder from her pocket. Vince smirked. "You think I don't know what you've got in your pockets?" "I think you underestimate how many people are watching this live right now," Dr. Price said, lifting her tablet. On the screen, the school's account. Hundreds watching. Thousands. Comments flying. The hashtag with the school's name already surging in trends. Somewhere in the hallway, sirens began to wail. Not one, several, and footsteps. Heavy, measured. "San Diego Police Department," an officer at the door announced, raising his hand. "No one leaves. Mr. Carver, there's a warrant for you." For the first time, Vince stopped smiling. "You ruined everything," he hissed at Maya. "For a kid who's going to—" She moved before he could finish. Short and sharp, straight to the solar plexus. Not for glory, but for silence. Vince dropped to his knees, gasping for air. His men raised their hands. At the sight of the patches at the door, courage had clear limits. Officers and two people in plain clothes. The same faces Maya had seen in late-night meetings, worked clean. One of them, Detective Martinez, would come over later and say, "You held up better than most adults." But right now, it didn't matter. What mattered was that the gym, which had always smelled of sweat and rubber, finally breathed fresh air. 3 days after Carver's arrest and Jace's removal from the field, the gym looked different. Not because the equipment had changed. No, the same mat rings, the same worn mats. But the air had changed. By the wall, 20 people, different heights, builds, skin tones, some in sneakers, some in heavy boots, all with the same expectation in their eyes. Maya stepped into the center, her back straight, her arms loose. "Here we learn only one thing," she said. "Not to attack, not to get revenge, not to win for the sake of winning, but to stand and protect yourself, others." Beside her stood Dr. Price, holding a folder with a schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Principal Coleman had approved the club, self-defense and confidence program. "Today we start with balance," Maya continued. "If you're stable, you're harder to move. If you know where to step, you're harder to catch." In the first row stood Ashley. Her face still carried a faint trace of the old life, the life in the shadows. But her fingers no longer picked at her sleeve. "Stance," Maya said, and 20 people spread their feet in unison. In the back of the gym, on a folding chair, sat a lean boy in a baseball cap, Zach Chang. He'd come just to watch, but his eyes heard every word. Maya's phone began to ring constantly in the second week. Detectives, lawyers, reporters. But there were other calls, quieter, more personal. The first, from one of the guys who had been part of the bullying. His voice shook. I'm ready to give a statement. I just don't want this to stay." The second, from Ashley's mother. Tears, gratitude, an invitation to a home-cooked dinner. The third, from Coach Ramirez. "If you ever change your mind about the wrestling team, safe 4. There's always a spot for you." The fourth and fifth, from the school board and the parent committee. They wanted her help rewriting the anti-bullying policy. The sixth, from Detective Martinez. "Carver's going down on major charges. Your work and that recording are key evidence." And the seventh, from a number Maya didn't expect. "Lee, it's Jace." A pause. "Can I see you?" "No audience," she agreed. The school assembly was set for Friday. The whole of Ridgeview High in the hall. A microphone on stage. Ashley stepped up first. "I was silent for 2 years. I thought if I stayed quiet, it would stop. But it doesn't stop. Not until we speak." After her, Zach. "I was part of it. I thought it was jokes. It's not jokes." Then others. Ordinary names, ordinary faces, finally stepping out from hiding. Maya listened. With each voice, her shoulders straightened. Not because her story had won, but because they were telling theirs. In the corner stood Jace. No uniform, no entourage, and at some point, he raised his hand. "I hurt a lot of people. I'm not making excuses. I just want to try to give back at least part of what I took." The hall was silent. Then came clapping, hesitant, but enough for him to go on. In the spring, Maya got a letter from UC Berkeley, a full scholarship for her essay on applying martial arts principles to engineering solutions. "This is a chance," Dr. Price said, "but it's your decision." That same day, Coach Ramirez offered her the lead in the self-defense club permanently. "Our sign-ups have tripled," he said. "People need this." Maya looked out the window at the empty football field. Wind chased a paper cup across it. The cage she'd fought in at the warehouses came back to her. "I'm done with the underground," she said out loud. Completely. That night she texted Danny. "Your doctors say you're responding to treatment better than anyone else. Looks like we're winning." A year later, in the hallway of UC San Diego Health, Maya stood at the window, watching Danny, hair grown back, a little more weight on him, laughing with other kids in the rehab room. Behind her, Jace approached. Jeans, plain t-shirt, calloused hands. "I'm working construction, saving for classes." He handed her an envelope. "This is for Danny's fund. I know his treatment's covered, but there's always something else." "Thank you," Maya said. "And I'm running sessions for teens at the center. Don't want anyone turning into who I was." They stood in silence. Through the glass, Danny waved. Jace waved back. That evening, Maya returned to the Ridgeview gym. 60 students inside. Ashley leading warm-up. Zach showing moves to newcomers. "Remember," Maya said once everyone had gathered, "strength isn't about hitting. Strength is about lifting." In the doorway stood Principal Coleman. He watched the once noisy gym working in focused quiet. He saw something being built that was bigger than sport. Outside, the sun was setting. The city lived on, but with less fear. And more people who knew the right to a voice is the right we give ourselves. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Every story on Heart Speaks is a voice of feelings, a voice of choice, a voice of life. Because what truly matters is what resonates in the heart. If the stories I share speak to you, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Until we meet again on Heart Speaks.